time it is. Marvin Devine, Huber, Axel, and you know how we do. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing that. I've been making loot since like 22. Ask me how I made it right here in the booth. I'm always pursued cause of what I pursue. That's greatness, yeah, I gotta make it, I got things to lose. Boy, wanna get in my crew, but you can't get in my crew. Me, XL, and Huber, way too fireable. When this joint drop, better call the troops. And when you hear the drop, better raise the roof. Better raise the roof. You already know what happens when we link up. Let's go. Yeah, I got the juice. Yeah, I got the juice. Big game cool, make them look like cool. Always play it cool, that's the biggest rule. Forget what they doing, keep on doing that.
You are now live with the Locked In Podcast. As always, your hosts for the evening, Steve Ushler and George Mecaj. If you're watching on YouTube and you're not already subscribed, make sure that you click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to turn notifications on to stay up to date with the most current personal development tips and sports analysis. With that being said, welcome to the podcast and enjoy the show. What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to the Locked In Podcast, the episode 131. We're back in the building, guys, after a 9-day hiatus. Last week we went live on Wednesday, this week on Friday. A little bit different from our typical standard protocol of Thursdays, just due to some traveling and some other things that kind of popped up. So with that being said, we are back, 131, back with the personal development side of it, where you're home for personal development tips and sports analysis. As always, we're the host for the evening. I'm Steve Ushler. Joined alongside me is my good friend and co-host, George Mecaj. What up, George?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Good, man. Good to be in here, man. Random Friday episode, man. A little bit of long time coming since we had our last Friday episode here, but good to be here with you.
Yeah, definitely, bro. It's been a while since we've done like a Friday, already done a Wednesday, but we did Wednesday actually before your trip to Linolia, but it's good to be back on a Friday. Yeah, sure, man. You know, it's just like a nice day out there, and it's a good day to do a topic such as this one. You know, I do kind of miss doing Fridays every now and then. You know what I mean? So it's good to be back.
Yeah, you get that random itch for a Friday episode. I'm not sure how many people tune in on Fridays. That's the one issue with it, but we'll see what happens, man. Looks like we got a couple people in here right now watching, so thank you guys for the support. And guys, don't worry, this episode is not essentially focused on a guest, but we will have guests coming on in our next few episodes. Me and George, we have like monthly meetings and stuff, so kind of figuring out the next few episodes, and we will have some guests back with you guys, hopefully shortly. But as George said, I was just recently in New Orleans. George was actually just recently in New York, so this week was kind of a short week for us. So, you know, we didn't really have much time to prep for Thursday, which is why we're going live today on Friday. tonight's topic, if you saw the promo, if you didn't, if you just saw the intro here, the importance of strong role models in life. It could be role models, or you can coin the term mentor. It's something that's popularly used mostly in adulthood. You would say a mentor, in childhood, like a role model. But a lot of times, George, we hear men, weak men, but it goes men and female here. Role models are important. You need strong ones. It can be honestly like a monumental difference. Growing up without a strong role model versus actually having a strong role model in your life. It can be a big difference. We can use some key celebrity examples, but we can also relate this to actual like personal real life, the average person. Before we hop into it, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, you're not already subscribed, make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit the notification button, turn notifications on. We release new episodes every week. You do not want to miss it. If you're watching and like the content, hit the like button, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify and you're not already like downloading, just hit the download button to download our episodes. It really, really helps us out here. You see something you like tonight, you want to comment, chime in. To keep this relatively to about 45 minutes. Comment down below. We appreciate the feedback, and we will post your comments up on the screen, and we will have a conversation with you. Number 3, sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast. The key is to be free, guys, in 2023. Yep. That being said, I won't waste too much of your time. We'll kind of hop into this tonight. Just defining, guys, role models. This is something we really haven't talked about on here. And I thought it really, really kind of necessary, going in. So, role models. What is a role model? A role model, right? It's someone who I would say, from my personal definition, is someone who serves as an example, say by behavior, success, and they can be imitated by other people. So, from a role model can be a bad role model or a good role model. I would say a good role model is someone who inspires you to be your best. Sounds a little fuzzy, bro. Just keeping it. Sounds a little fuzzy.
Yeah, maybe some trouble, some connection issue. Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna try to talk and just see what happens. I'm not sure what's going on with the sound. I would say a good role model, and maybe you can relate to this, is someone who inspires you to be your best, to achieve your goals, put you in a position for success. They lead inspiration. I think these are very important, not only later in life, but maybe most important during the developmental stages early on in your life. Very, very important. We see so many weak people today, and I think a lot of it is because they didn't really have strong role models either in the household or outside of the household, like teachers, coaches, whatever the case may be. And, it can be a monumental shift in life. It can be monumental and difference. I didn't even realize George just left the room. I'm not sure, guys, what's going on with George's stuff, but it seems like we're having some issues on his end. I'm not sure if it's something tech-wise, but he'll be in shortly again. So, guys, I'm just going to kind of talk while he's kind of out of the room, and, I'll bring him in when he comes back. But essentially, it's a big difference when you don't have a good role model around you. And one of the classic ones that I like to use is – so Mary's coming in. Said a good role model is someone who guides you in life and shows you the right way to do things. Yeah, no, I mean, everybody has a definition, but I'd say, who guides you, and I would say the right way to do things. I would say in a positive direction. That's an example I like to use. This is just from the celebrity side of it. Is LeBron James. LeBron had a coach when he was growing up. He grew up in Akron, Ohio.
Yeah,
and he grew up and it wasn't a great neighborhood where he grew up. And as talented as LeBron was, if he didn't have a good role model around him, he had a single mother for a parent. If he didn't have good role models around him, like the coach that he had that really helped guide him, and really, I would say, jumpstart his career, like jumpstart him at an early age. Who knows where LeBron would actually be today? That's just one example, and it's actually a really rare one. Obviously, LeBron James is super talented. Not everybody has that type of talent. At least when it comes to sports, but yeah, it's important to have good role models. As a young person, one of the things I can say is good role models, and I'll kick this over to you in a sec, George. Good role models actually provide an emotional connection. So I've done a lot of research on this myself, And one of the biggest things is they provide an emotional connection. As a young person from the developmental ages, you often feel like you don't have much influence over the kind of person or kind of life you want to lead. You may feel that the decisions made for you, like where you go to school, they limit like certain areas, some certain decisions that are already made for you. They limit your options, leave you a little room to make your own choices. And I would say, although it may be hard at first, learning to break out of that box is actually essential. Role models can actually help us feel like we belong at an early age. So when we're developing, because they remind us that we're not alone in our problems. They've been through similar things. You know, a lot of times role models are usually older than us. Most of the time, a role model is going to be older than you, and they've been through similar things and are now doing great things with their lives. So they remind us that we can do it too. They've been through similar things, and we can do it, and we can do it too. Would you agree with that, George?
Yeah. I think role models are kind of there to give us a hand and share some of their wisdom with us. You know what I mean? Kind of like show us around a little bit. And like a role model is like it could be a mentor in life. It could be someone that shows you things. It could be like a teacher, a guru even. And different parts of the world, use different terms and everything else. But role models are all kind of like the same in that sense that they can give you a hand with like what's going on in life. They can show you different stuff you don't know, and it can help you better yourself because, like you said, they probably go through it, and they're usually older or done a little before you. It's always a guy that kind of puts you on or shows you something, and usually he happens to be a little older. So that's what I'm saying. That's how it is usually with you ever a role model, a mentor, or a life mentor. There's different, sort of like titles for that, but they're all very similar.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I would agree with that.
Right. I would agree with that too. And to be honest, I don't know if I'd be where I am today if I didn't have certain role models, whether they be in my family. I got a couple in my family that were essentially role models for me when I was younger. Coaches. I've actually had teachers as well that were really, really big role models in my life, as well as celebrities too. And now to this day, I have a few mentors. I have about 3 mentors in my life that are really, really key and really driving me to be my best self. It's always me versus me every day. In my head, it's me versus me. How can I be better than myself from the day before? But seeing people who are at a level where I want to be one day and understanding they went through a lot of the trials and tribulations that, I may be currently going through, it helps me to really believe that, that I can get to that level someday, following that guidance. So I'll use an example of a teenager. When you're a teenager, whether you're a teenager or like an already successful person, you probably wouldn't be where you are without if someone hadn't told you could do something, right? So words of encouragement are big. If you have a good role model around you and they are already in a position of success and they continue to tell you that you can do things, they say, nothing's off limits, you can be this, you can do that. Words of encouragement go a long way, especially at the developmental level when you're growing up, because if you got someone who's always constantly belittling you, putting you down, telling you can't do things especially when your self-confidence really isn't there yet because you're still young, it can be really, really traumatic and it can be really tough. And you could live your whole life in fear of actually because because you literally have been told all your life that you can't do something. So it really doesn't make you feel very confident about yourself, I'm sure you can
agree with that too, bro. I think it's okay to sort of put somebody, in perspective, kind of put them on check a little bit. Not put them on blast, but put them on check. But help them out to learn. But it's a difference between that and kind of just kind of crushing somebody's whole mentality and ideas and kind of killing their confidence, whatever they have of it anyway, or just kind of being too brash or sometimes too brutally honest. You can be brutally honest. You can be trying to put somebody on the right path, but there's ways to do things. There's ways to talk. There's a tone of voice, and there's a lot of things that go on that as well. It's how you show somebody. It's how you talk to them. You got to give them encouragement, and things of that nature to kind of get somebody to really understand. Especially if you're trying to say it's a case where somebody an older guy or a woman or a gentleman is trying to help somebody a younger person is trying himself out a little bit. There's ways to reach people, and it's not always through being too brash or just mean or brutal, or resort to violence or something like that. It's better to kind of try to talk to them and make them understand and help them out in that way.
Yes, I would agree with that. But other big thing is accountability. I think that a good role model teaches a young man or a young woman accountability. When you have people around you that hold you accountable, essentially this could either be just a role model, a mentor, a solid group of friends or family that holds you accountable. That's important. That's important. Accountability, without accountability, I'm gonna be honest, it becomes it's a struggle for anybody to achieve anything in life if you lack accountability. You are going to struggle. You are going to struggle hard.
Yeah. That's a
So I would
fact.
say one of the key things that a good role model will teach you is accountability and how to be accountable.
Yeah, I agree with that, bro. I think that it keeps you balanced, and this stuff is good for you because it can show you a lot about yourself and your character. If you really have it to go forward, or you don't. If you know how to utilize time the right way, learn from what you see, try to stay away from all the trends that are out there. Because not every trend is good. Everything's this big trend these days, whether on social media or on TV or on the news or in everyday life. Everybody's doing things how they're doing it, and you should stand out sometimes. Okay, to, take accountability, but people sometimes don't, or they make excuses to why you can't do things or why you went this way. Instead, trying to learn from it and focus. That's a key word. Like to kind of hold a second, excuse me, slow down, quiet. Close your eyes to understand it. Evaluate you add with it, and and do it. And sometimes, yeah, a mentor or a teacher, a mentor, a good friend that has your best interest, somebody you can learn from, a role model, a person of interest that you look up to. Again, a person of interest that you look up to, know that they can definitely show you these kind of things, and they can help you understand and hold you accountable. But see, some of the best role models I've seen that I've had or I've seen and other people had were really the coolest ones too, bro. Like I'll be honest, Steve, they were like real chill, laid back. They wouldn't yell at you, but they'll tell. It's like they'll check you or G check you in the most coolest way. Where you don't even feel like you really got checked. It feels more like they kind of told you, but they didn't tell you up and explain to you. And you actually, it really hits you for real, like you understand it. I mean, unless like you're a crumb, but I mean, even if you're a crumb, sometimes when you're younger, you do a lot of things and you're so strong, stuck in your ways, and you're older, you see, you're like, yo, I really wasn't. I was tripping, I was bugging, I was not, acting accordingly. I was a little immature, or I was young, I was this and that. You know what I mean? Like, there's always not excuses, but reasons, or actual motives why things were how they were. Because I mean, you're not the same you were like 5 years ago, and people learn and change, and again, helping a mentor can help you with that. But even mentors will tell you that they're just people that have seen us stuff and they're learning as they go. But like you said earlier, a couple minutes ago, they're just usually a little older than us, or they tend to be. Not always. Sometimes it can be close to your same age, just a little older. But usually, like they happen to be a little older because they've been around and they've seen it. They're trying to kind of like kick game to you and drop gems, if you will. So yeah,
Exactly.
Give it back to you.
And you're right. Yeah, they'll kick gems to you because they're in a position of success already. So somebody once told me, when a millionaire or say a billionaire gives you advice and then you chop it up to be, you're like, okay, I'll follow this, but not this. Why would you not follow their advice if you want to say like your goal is to be a billionaire? Why would you not follow their advice? They have obviously done something correct and something right to get where they were. So you're going to follow if somebody's a billionaire and you want to become a billionaire, you're going to follow their advice. One thing I want to say, just going back to the accountability side of it, without accountability and not accepting your past failures and being open and honest with yourself, it's going to make it relatively difficult for you to be able to achieve a level of success. It becomes very difficult when you cannot accept your past failures and your past mistakes and your past actions that did not get you where you wanted to be. Now, we all make mistakes. We're human beings. We're not perfect. We're not robots. We're not computers. So we make mistakes, but it's the fact of being open and honest. And I really think a good role model teaches a young man or woman that. I'll use an example too, and I know this is not just for all men, this is for women too, because I wanted to kind of make this unisex and make it very universal as I kind of crafted this topic tonight. But one thing I will tell you, just go into the men's side of it, what are we seeing in society today? More than anything, we're seeing weak men. We're seeing weak men.
Yeah.
And this comes in the terms of what we like to call simping, right? Simping is one of the biggest, it's something that goes on a lot. And when a man doesn't have strong male role models around him, the problem is the man does tend to simp with women. It's not all the time because he might have resources around him like YouTube and stuff. But if you don't have like strong male role models in your life, you tend to simp.
Strong male presence, a strong male presence, if you will,
Yeah, so what does this lead to in relationships? This leads to relationships where there's no respect. You're treated like dirt. You're treated like crap. and you lose, you can, it puts you at risk for monetary loss if you make good money and you get into a marriage and you didn't understand anything about it, or you just, this could be marriage, or it could just be trying to go out and meet women. Like you go out and you meet a woman and you're constantly getting rejected, but you're still trying to chase after these women. You waste a ton of time and a ton of resources. This happens a lot of times when you don't have a strong male role model in your life. And had you had a strong role model, whether it be in your friend group or you had a strong male role model in the family, or just someone outside the family, a coach, a teacher, somebody you met in the industry that you want to work one day, and they just, whatever it is, like, it's important, man, because you know what else a good role model does? It allows you to not waste time. Do you agree with that? So a lot of good role models, if you following somebody, they made a lot of mistakes in their past that they can tell you about today. And guess what?
Yeah.
It can prevent you from making those same mistakes. So essentially, there's one thing we don't get back in life. We don't get back time. You can learn from them, and they can teach you things they wish they knew when they were growing up. So you don't make those same mistakes. And guess what? One day when you're when you're a mentor or you're a role model, you can do the same thing to other people. It's essentially the cycle of giving back.
It's a cycle. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly.
like you said, basically, bro. Yeah, you worded it very well. It's they usually have mistakes. So it's like if you're looking up to them, it's somebody, again, people that people look up to. So a role model, a person of interest that people look up to, a teacher, somebody like a life coach, if you will. Because these days, a lot of those too, like influencers and all these other stuff. It's actually more, they're more diversified, and there's more there's more like levels to it and all that, more than ever actually in the last 10 years or whatever. So having said that, you're right, bro. A role model could definitely show you stuff that he's been through, but it kind of starts with you and him. A role model can make you a better person. I mean, they can, but they can't give you some stuff like you said, bro. You got to be able to know how to kind of use your time right. He can show you a lot, but if you don't got the itch, the work ethic, the heart, the will to get up, the willingness, you know what I mean? Initiation, initiative. If you don't got all these things, bro, I mean, a role model can really show you a lot of these stuff, but it really can't. Some stuff is you kind of have it, you don't. Sometimes you can kind of develop them as well in life. It depends, but I mean, it's kind of like the coach. The role model, the coach tells you, or a role model says, "Yo, I can't teach hard. I can teach you a lot of stuff out there, tactics and different plays for football or basketball, whatever sport we're talking about." A football coach always says, "I can't teach you hard. I can teach you a lot of the stuff." Though hard, you kind of have to have it. Having said that, yeah, if you kind of feel like you're a little lost, but you're over to start, a role model is a great person to give you advice in life. And it could be about finances, personal development. It could be about schoolwork. It could be about just school in general. It could be about sports, music, professions or activities you do. It could be about the piano. Somebody could teach you how to play the piano. Like there's a friend of mine that he's kind of like somebody, I also look up to. You know what I'm talking about. He's been here before and he plays the piano. He's also a teacher and he plays the piano, another piano. So I asked him to show me how to play the piano a little bit. My nieces and them, they do piano lessons, so I always check that out. And sometimes I ask her because she knows pretty well, but usually I get help from him. And yeah, he's been a great mentor. He's also been one of my martial arts friends and kind of coaches, and senseis. He's connected to some big organizations in jiu-jitsu, karate, all that, Shinto-ryu, jiu-jitsu, judo. So he has a lot of connections and all that. And he's also again kind of role model for me in different ways. And he travels as well. So he's actually going to he might be going to China, actually, believe it or not. He's going to China for a little bit. He goes there often. They do Tai Chi in China in the park. All the guys, the men there, they do Tai Chi and Wing Chun in the park. Kind of like in New York, actually. In New York, they do Wing Chun in the park. Some of those guys are role models. And, to me, for example, like you asked me earlier if I need role models and all, that's how it is. Some of us, do. Some probably have different people to look up to. But in my case, I had a lot of role models who were martial artists, obviously, because that's my background. So I met a lot of important people in life through the martial arts. A lot of businessmen, role models, guys who are go-getters, they start something up, good family man, good business, good family, good foundation, you know what I mean? They help others, they help other young men, they're good role models. Let me ask you a question, totally unrelated to this. I mean, related, but not exactly in this topic, just same topic. Would you say that Andrew Tate's a role model to a lot of people? Keep it real. Would you say that he's a role model?
I would say yes. It depends on what you're looking for in life. That's really what it depends on. But I would say, I think his message is good. I know a lot of people rip him because what they do is they post a lot of his shorts and a lot of his clips. But I think overall, if you actually listen to him on podcasts and stuff, I think that he does have an overwhelmingly good message. when it's underneath all the BS and all the short clips and all the other stuff. Actually, listen to him speak. I think he does have the man's best interest in mind, at least from the men's perspective of it. But when a man is able to act on his purpose, that's when a woman flourishes too. Because when she's able to have a high value, strong man in her life, a woman tends to
that helps flourish
live
the
a great
relationship a
life
lot better.
too. So he's particularly a great role model for men. Underneath all the facade and all the stuff up top, I know his message is a little extreme sometimes. I'm just being honest. I honestly believe that. It's a little crazy how he says things, but I think he says a lot of things too to spark a conversation and draw people in. It's essentially like a marketing tactic. But
it's almost like
if you want my open and honest
opinion.
opinion, but if you want my open and honest opinion on it, I would say he is his message is good for men. It's a good strong message. I don't believe the stuff that with him trafficking women was true at all. And it hasn't really been proven that it has been. Now for say that did come out that said he was trafficking women, yeah, obviously, I wouldn't respect him, even though he does have a good message for men. It doesn't mean his message is wrong, but I would not really respect him as a person if obviously I found out that happened.
Correct. Yeah.
But I'm just going off of innocent until proven guilty, and there was nothing ever that was proven guilty on that. So I can only go based off of factual information. But if you're asking me just from the message standpoint, I think he is overall a good role model for men because I think he teaches men to be their most dominant in self, whether it be with their health, whether it be with their career, whether it be with their principles and respecting themselves. Now, are there people that take people's messages out of context? Yeah. Could be Andrew Tate, could be Donald Trump. And people take things for what they are, and that shows that's a true reflection of who they are. Now, if someone watches Trump and then they're underlying a racist and they take every message that he has, they're like, oh, I can be a racist. No, that's not essentially what he is promoting. And Andrew Tate, if someone is an extremist and they take things to an extreme level, you can't be responsible for what people, you have the message at face value, but someone could take that message and interpret it a different way. And
correct.
bad things happen. And then guess what? They blame that person who had that message because somebody acted out of character from listening to his message. So you have to understand, if you're listening from a logical perspective and you really try to understand someone's message, I think he's a good role model. I would say he's a decent.
Yeah, I think he's a good human being and a good role model, bro. Sometimes gets misinterpreted and he gets caught up in a lot of stuff. But I would say that, bro, again, he tries to put the right message and he's just trying to really help men. And again, like you said earlier, bro, men can help women, women can help men. We should be kind of pushing towards them more and understand the kind of that direction, that agenda, explore the narrative, and so much is false narrative, and all this, it's always gonna be the battle of the sexes or the competition of men and women, and he said this and she said that, and then you have some influencers and YouTubers and other men, and you have some women talk, and honestly, they both make sense. To be honest, I can agree with both of them. I could watch a female point of view, this guy, I forgot her name. There's a couple of them, but there's one girl. She talks about almost like some alpha woman type of ideas. And actually, I listened to a couple of stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, it made sense to me, and that's what that matters. I'm now nobody's puppet. I don't go by what I hear. Oh, Andrew Tate said this. Joe Rogan said the world is like a sphere, or is like a spoon, so it's gotta be that way. Now I don't follow that shit. I go by what I know and what I see and what I research and logic and my many years of doing the research, of reading, understanding, of knowing the stuff. So having said that, bro, I can think for myself, but I do like the perspective that some of these influencers and role models that happen to be guys and males as well as females, and a lot of these girls and women are doing, because it's pretty cool, man. And some of them make good money too. You know what I mean? I know you watch a couple influencers, a couple guys on IG these days and on YouTube. I mean, it's on Facebook too. But these guys, these guys could be like How the Beast, or like David Goggins is a great role model for a lot of guys, just because he has this idea of working hard and being the hardest version of yourself. I mean, we don't have to agree exactly to a T with every small detail, but we can say that we agree with him for the most part, for almost everything. And he's talked about some great stuff on the Joe Rogan podcast, as well as other podcasts. So, I agree with you. Andrew Tate does have some good stuff, bro. Some good points. I enjoy watching his videos. But I wouldn't say he's my main role model, but he's, he's somebody I look up to a little. I like seeing his stuff, somebody I follow. You know what I mean? And
it really, sorry, bro. I would say it really depends on what your journey in life is. Yeah. What you're trying to accomplish in life. is important because a good role, even although a role model may be a good role model, not every role model is going to relate to you. You know what I mean? You're not going to relate to every good role model out there.
Yeah, it's not gonna be always for your path. Not every role model relates to your exact, you know what I mean, your focus. Some role models are better for you or better fit than others, you know. I agree with that too.
I'll use an example. Joel Cervantes. He was on this podcast almost a year ago in July. I was actually talking to him recently. Joel is actually, personally, he's a good friend of mine, but also he's actually someone who inspires me. I actually look at Joel almost as a role model, at least from the fitness aspect of my life, because Joel does a lot of amazing things with his body. The way he's able to kind of do things from a health, like a fitness aspect, how he does those long runs and like how he's conditioned himself. Honestly, Joel is a good role model for me, but Joel's role model, one of his biggest role models, is David Goggins. But you see, not everybody's going to relate to David Goggins. I know people that think David Goggins is crazy. And while, yes, I would say, you have to be a little bit insane to do some of the things that David Goggins does. He is a positive role model because he's teaching people to essentially push their mind past the limitations. So you don't have to be as extreme as David Goggins, but his message is good. It's a good message. It's a good message. He's promoting a good message, and a strong message for that. At that, so not everybody's going to relate to every role model to a T, though. I know people that don't like certain good role models' messages, although they will admit it's a good message. They don't kind of vibe with the message, and that's okay. It really just depends. There's bad influence, bad role models too, and bad role models are fairly obvious. If they're taking you down a dark path where you're ruining your own life following this person's advice, that's essentially a bad role model. If they're teaching you to drink and do drugs all the time, that's a bad role model. You're wasting your time on this earth. And you know how it is, you see in Philadelphia, we live in Philadelphia and we don't live too far from the inner city. You see what's going on down in Kensington and Allegheny. You see, a lot of times when this isn't for everybody, but some of the damage you can do with drugs can be irreparable. Even though you might get sober, you may still never be your full self that you were before you started doing, depending what the drugs are. It's, you start doing drugs and somebody got you into it. That's not a good role model. It's a bad role model. You're wasting.
Anybody that's going to get you to do bad things and engage in like the wrong stuff, man, it's not a good role model. Because I can tell you that, like, yo, this makes money and I've done this, but you probably shouldn't do that thing. You should go this path. Like, they try to make you avoid all the dangers and crime and street life and stuff like that. But yeah, you're right. Philly, you're near like inner city. You always see stuff going on. Everybody's getting like carjacked and mugged a lot of times and shot and everything else. A lot of things going on. It seems like the city's really like at an all-time less feel to it. It's really kind of all over lowlands. So it's we gotta stay careful, but also think about the positive stuff. And then people get off like all that stuff. There's no point of doing all that street stuff, man. And these a lot of these people a lot of them misguided. They listen to drill rap and all they promote is that anyway. So it's like they're going back to everything else, and it's like a cycle, And instead go focus on a scholarship, finish high school, go to college, or try to go to college, get a trade, do something like to do something exciting each time. You don't gotta get involved in all this, all this nonsense. I mean, but it's a lot. Like you said, the city. I mean, New York is similar, like Atlanta, similar, Buffalo, Chicago, Miami. All the big cities got that, but people you tend to go to big cities to kind of escape that, and then again, those that learn and want to be the difference. But it's good to have some guidance. And even if you don't have a role model, I'd say have some guidance. Somebody can kind of guide you a little. Somebody, like, again, a person to look up to, or like what they sometimes consider like the big homie, like a good friend, a solid friend, maybe an older cousin, even could be, sometimes they could be a role model. So.
Exactly. I mean, it's I've had a cousin in my life who was a big time role model to me, and he's almost 20 years older than me. He's one of my really, really older cousins, but my mom could tell you, my mother could tell you from an early age, he was always kind of a role model for me. He was about 17, 18 when I was first born, so he's older, but the way he's really achieved his success through life coming up, it's really been inspiring to me. Somebody who inspired me career-wise, for sure. I have role models in the health side and fitness side of it too that are role models to me personally. I also have role models in terms of relationships. I see certain people and they have great relationships. My aunt and uncle are a good example on my mom's side. A really, really great, healthy relationship, and they've been together for a very long time. And it's a relationship that I've always admired. And that's the thing. Like you got role models in different areas, and we always talk about in personal development. You got health and fitness, career, relationships, and you can have role models in different areas. Maybe it's a certain hobby. You see somebody inside of say is a musician, and maybe that's something that you've always been interested in, something that you could inspire to have. Maybe it's somebody who's traveled who's traveled the world, and that's something you want to do one day. Guess what? It can be anything, but it's fairly obvious what's a good role model and what's a bad role model. But I'd say this is important. This is a conversation that really isn't had very much. At the end of the day, you make your own work ethic and everything, but having people at a young age and later in life, when you're developing your career and stuff, it's important. It's important. Most successful people I know, they all had a mentor. They all had a mentor.
Yeah. Most people had somebody, like, again, bro, a great, like, depending on almost like successful people, celebrities, big time people, interesting people you met, everybody has somebody looked up to, a role model, or somebody to learn from. Now, you can learn from a lot of people, but role models are only like a selected few. And again, like mentors or even personal mentors, because you have a personal mentor or just like a mentor. Somebody like kind of mentors who helps you, or somebody's assigned to you, almost like a life coach. People pay for it these days, man. You can actually pay for it too. But yeah, very good point, man. Very interesting too.
My bad.
The role of role models.
Yeah, my bad. I actually never addressed Mario's comment here too. I wanted to address it. Just go back to Andrew Tate. He said Andrew Tate brought awareness to dating and intersexual dynamics between men and women. It's actually true. Yeah, like he wasn't one of the originators of bringing awareness to it, but he definitely added to the awareness of it. So he brought awareness. Marius is absolutely correct on that. To dating and intersexual dynamics between men and women. The dynamics are different. They're different. So it's important. So I agree with that. We're actually only going to be on here for about another 10 minutes, guys. I know George has to go in about 10 minutes or so. We're going to keep it to about 45 minutes, 10 minutes or less. Exactly. Keeping a short limit. I would say one of the biggest things is role models can help you master your life. They give you direction, they give you guidance. They're people that have achieved what you want. They have the experience and knowledge to help you along the way. They can help you, like I said, avoid a lot of the mistakes that they already made and learn from them. Something you'll never get back, time. So if you can learn from them and not make the same mistakes, that's more time that you have to achieve what you're doing, continue to elevate, and then guess what? You get that time back to educate somebody else. It's a cycle. An effective role model can come from all walks of life. Like I said, it can be family members, it can be celebrities, it can be a mentor at your work, someone in your community, a teacher, a coach. No matter what it is, a good role model can come from any area. Sometimes, though, I will say it does become very difficult to find good role models in life. So you might turn to somebody on YouTube or a celebrity, and that's okay. The only problem is it's difficult to ask them personalized advice. Really have a sit down with them because your access to them is going to be limited. However, somebody who inspires you, it could be from a celebrity too. Your ideal role model, I'm going to say, it can help guide you when things are tough, show you the way when you feel lost. They're not always right, and they can sometimes be wrong. They're human beings too, so not every single thing that they say is always going to be correct. But knowing someone that has explored the terrain means you don't have to do it alone. I will tell you one thing. Be careful who you choose as your role models and mentors. One thing I will tell you, if your mentor is telling you every single thing you say is correct, I would question your mentor. I would question if that's the right mentor for you. If your mentor doesn't hold you in check and hold you accountable, I would question because everything you say is not always going to be correct. And that's the thing. If they're just saying what you want to hear, you got to kind of question if that's the correct role model or mentor for you. Because if someone just gasses you up, they're not holding you accountable.
It comes down to having yes man, bro, and not taking accountability. I would say that I got some stuff here. I actually got some talking notes on here, like talking points and notes on this. One of them was, it's a question. Like, I'm going to kind of answer most of them, and I know we only have 10 minutes, but it's pretty quick though, because a lot of them we're kind of already covered on here. It's not on here anyway, so it's like it's already covered. So number one is why should you have why should you have any mentors or like role models? And it's very simple. I think we kind of covered it. That the simple fact is, you can go like the most basic explanation, layman's terms, and keep it short and simple. Having a role model or somebody look up to or a mentor could definitely give you benefits in life and give you extra, things. It can help you, direct you. It can push you in life. It can make you understand things that you want to see. It's a perspective from not even a family member. It's not a dad or mom or dad. Although you can't be your mom and dad, obviously, because your parents are always supposed to be like role models. But outside of like the immediate family we're talking about. I mean, yeah, sure, a cousin, maybe like even a distant cousin, but you know what I'm saying, or a close cousin, but not necessarily your parents. Just have like a role model. And even usually most of my role models, bro, be people not in the family at all. But I got some in the family as well, uncles and people I look up to because they've done well and are successful. But most of mine are being outside. So I think we can agree on that, right? That's the reason. It's good to have one because he 100% helps a lot of things. So that's one. Number two that I had here was if you're a certain age, like how can you kind of I guess like kind of find the right role model, you know what I mean? So for this one, I mean I can let you go first and then I'll go after you real fast. We can make it quick.
Sure. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
So I would say that basically you just need somebody like you kind of find people like that in any regard, bro. It could be in college, somebody you meet, somebody you kind of like you feel like you're learning from and everything's cool. You can learn from them, and if you feel like they're doing well in life, that's how you kind of like you connect, become cool, and then it just kind of happens. Like, the right person might come, and you might kind of like become cool with them and understand, like what they're trying to tell you, the message and all that. So I would say kind of like just like you choose your friends and all that, but then you see somebody like when you meet people. So number one is networking, meet people. That's when you kind of like figure out and you see what's going on and who you possibly can maybe ask for advice because you feel comfortable. You ask somebody for advice at this point. It's like he already has become a role model. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I would say in order to find a good role model, it changes from the developmental stage when you're growing up compared to when you're older. So if you're going from the developmental stage, a lot of times you can find it in your school. You can find it if you play sports. You can find coaches. You might have you might be blessed enough to have family members that are doing well for themselves and are a mentor, friends in school. It really depends. When you're older, I would say the best way to really find a good role model is to put yourself out there. So really figure out what you want in life is, depending on your health goals, your fitness goals, your career goals, your relationship goals, and really kind of go towards those type of groups. And what you do is the more you put yourself out there, the more you're going to be able to find somebody that is going to be able to kind of relate to what you want. And those are the type of people that, you pick their brain and you really sit down and have them mentor you. It can be tough, but the good thing is today we have the internet, so you can find local groups around you. Like there's a thing I think called meetup.com, and you can find people that honestly share similar interests to you, maybe who are already established or are on the up and up too, and they're working to level their life up in a certain area. And what you can do is you guys can either work together to build each other up, or if it's a person who's already achieved so much, they can essentially mentor you. Now, I always say once you're established and once you start growing, make sure that you always get back to the mentor. It doesn't always have to be monetary, but you want to make sure you give some type of value back. But the internet is a beautiful thing, and we've had so many ways to really do these things that people didn't have 30 years ago, 20 years ago. It's a big difference. So I would say, yeah. So I would say, just put yourself out there, take chances. If you sit at home all day, you literally don't put yourself out into the world. The odds of you finding a mentor and something you want to do is going to be slim to none because you're literally not putting yourself out there. You have to honestly take the initiative because the mentor isn't going to go look for you. You got to look for the mentor and find the person. Nobody's just going to come. Life doesn't just hand you things. You got to go look for them. But I would say put yourself out there. Just put yourself into the world. Find out what it is that you want. And, sometimes, that's what we say. Sometimes you got to remove friends from your life too, because they're really not going in the direction that you want. They're not going, that's okay. They could be still a good person, but if they're not honestly going the direction that you're going, it's okay to maybe have them friends from a distance, but to continuously spend a lot of time around those people, it's draining because they're not on the same life path, and it's tough. Doesn't mean the person's a bad person, but that's what I say. So,
yeah. I agree.
Put yourself out there. That's the main thing. Put yourself out there and gravitate towards what you want. Yep. That would be my take home point.
I had here. Yeah, the last one was yeah. I got 2 more minutes, and then I'm gonna head out. So the other one was basically when you kind of start networking on mentors. It's like some questions I had. How many? Because for the people that they're watching, and again, this is kind of based on the questions that I've seen online. I ask people, and it's like a little mini survey. It's like about 4 questions I had, but 3 here. So how many mentors should one have? Like, for example, after you're done college, where you're like in a good period of life, 22 to about 24, 25 years old. And you don't waste time either because, that's when it gets challenging now, you're trying for a job and all that. And he says, like, should you have like more than one? Should you have a couple or maybe just a few? Like a couple isn't like a lot more, like, or just a few, like 3 or 4 or just one. And I go first for this one. I would say that it's good to have more than one is better. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. I'm back.
Yeah, I hear you.
I would say more than one is better. Maybe like a couple. It doesn't have to be like a whole lot right away, but like 3 or 4, and then it can help you, like you said, whether what you're looking for in life in different directions, different paths, or it could be for your career. But if you're a person that does more than one thing, it's good to have like 3 or 4. You know what I mean? Or 2 or 3, like, because you might have like one for like the fitness side of things, gym, one for your job, career, and one for like other stuff, like other ventures or for managing property, setting assets, Bitcoin, I mean, whatever, finance.
Yeah, studies show that it's best to have more than one mentor.
Yeah,
for different perspectives. Yep. Yeah, it's best to. They actually say on average, it's actually really good to have no more than 5. Have 5 mentors because you don't want too much perspectives in your ear, but you want to be able to have different perspectives. They say up to 5 is great. If you can have 5 mentors for different areas of your life, it's great to have 5 mentors. I honestly, personally, I don't have 5 mentors, but I have about 3 around me right now. It is good to have multiple though.
Yeah, I got about 3 to 4. Yeah, I got like 3. I would say like 3. I would say like maybe 2 mentors. I'm sorry, 2 role models, and maybe like 3 mentors in total.
Agreed.
And one guy that's like a good friend, like
similar.
almost like an advisor, like a counselor, basically. Like he asked me for help. I asked him for help. We're kind of real cool, He's older than me, so he's been around a little longer, and I could definitely learn from him. But that's my guy, it's my homie, and he's like kind of like a little bit of a mentor. But yeah, I got about 3. One in like the personal development side, somebody else for like the martial arts stuff, and another one for like everything else, so to speak. So, and including like the gigs and all that, like DJing, security, working for different stuff, doing like again cooking and the chef, world, restaurant world, just basically work related. You know what I mean? But got about 3. It's good to keep your options open. That's all I can say. So it works out.
I agree with that. Of course. Yeah. Guys, I just don't want to hold you too much. I think we're gonna wrap up here. Guys, if you'd like to see another episode on this, just let us know. I know a lot of people really probably aren't able to watch at the moment. But for anybody who's watching now or people who watch later, if you want to see another parts of this, I'd love to actually bring guests on to talk about this. Maybe I can even bring some of my own mentors on here, and George could too. And we could actually have an honest discussion about this. But if you guys like what you saw, hit the like button. If you, I want to appreciate Marius coming in tonight, but commenting in. It looks like we actually have more people kind of popping on now because it's almost around our 6:30 hour. Unfortunately, we did have to go a little early tonight, but I do want to say we'll be back on our normal day next week, Thursday. That will be 6/22 next week, so it'll be June 22nd. We'll be back at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 132, and I think we honestly have a guest in the building next week, so it should be an exciting episode. Actually, we do have a guest in the building, I believe. So
yeah, it should be a good one. Looking forward to next week, man. And definitely good episode. Thank you guys for watching. Everybody tuned in, even for the last second. And keep rocking on, man. It's good stuff, bro. I think we covered a good amount. I want to thank everybody. Good work. I hope you had a great time in New Orleans, of course. And I know we spoke about it as well. And I guess on to the next one, guys. You guys have a great weekend. Be blessed. Stay up. And we'll see you guys next week. I'll see you probably soon, Steve.
Yeah, guys, have a great weekend. I know for some people it's a 3-day weekend with Juneteenth and everything. So, guys, enjoy your weekend. If not, if you just have a regular weekend, it's fine too. Some of us are working over the weekend. That's all right too. But guys, just enjoy the weekend where you can. Have a great week next week. You'll see some great content. I think we're gonna post some more shorts content, TikTok content next week. So be prepared. Next week's gonna be a good episode, 132. And with that being said, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Turn notifications on. See you next week for episode 132. Have a good night, guys. Happy Friday.
Good night, guys. See you.
Key is to be free in 2023.